When I first started running, I made the mistake of very much compartmentalizing my training. My life was here, and my training was here. They did not coincide at all. The only time I would think about training was in the 2 hours, 3 to 5, when I would train with my team, and the entire rest of the day was completely dedicated to other things. The reality of this is that this led to me having a lifestyle which was very, very different from what would be optimal for me as an athlete. The reality is that most people who are not fully focused on their athletics and their fitness live like complete slobs. Even people who are pretty high level. A lot of these like athletes and fitness influencers who seem to put out good performances still live their lives in a completely different way from the truly elite athletes of our world. Let me tell you a story. On my team, there are several athletes who would go to school at a different school for some separate classes. It was like a dual enrollment kind of thing. And so they'd be coming back partway through the day. Their classes would be in the morning. They'd be coming back to school, and their ride from that other school to their normal school would take them right past a D&W, which is like a, if you don't know, it's like a little grocery store. It's got a lot of baked goods and stuff. And these guys, a lot of them were runners. They would come from that school to our home school, and they would stop at this D&W and grab donuts. I literally see these very high level like varsity runners come into school and they'd have 2 donuts before lunch. And that was just the start of it. Who knows what they had for breakfast? Who knows what they had for lunch? A lot of them would get pizza from the cafeteria. And so by the end of the day, when it came to have practice, these guys had the sugary cereal for breakfast, 2 donuts as a snack, and then who knows, 2 slices of pizza and a Celsius. And then by the time they're ready to train, they've already literally just punched themselves in the stomach repeatedly. That's the effect of all this stuff that they were consuming. The point of this story is to say that that's not how we should live. We should live radically different from this idea that our everyday lives and our training are not connected. The idea I want to stress here is that we need to align our entire lives with our purpose. In this instance, our purpose is training. Our purpose is becoming faster, whether it be in a 5K, in an ultra marathon, or in a triathlon. All these things require you, if you want to be truly great, to completely align yourself to your purpose. Now, if you want to be kind of mediocre at your sport, I'm fine with that. Click off now. I don't want you on my channel anyways. But if you want to truly accomplish things, you need to adopt this idea that you need to live like a monk. You need to completely align your life to what your outcome is trying to be. If you have a race car, let's say, and you're trying to win this race, but you put poor components, poor quality components, a weak engine, and bad fuel in the car, do you expect it to win the race? Of course you don't. That would be ridiculous. The same thing goes for your training. If you do not put in the right inputs, you will not get the right output. Let's think about this. Inputs are things like diet, things like sleep, things like mental training, things like knowledge, how much you're learning, how actively you're pursuing excellence. And then also what we usually expect, like training. How hard are you training? How well are you training? Are you thinking it through? And then your output is going to be your performance on race day. You have this big group of things here, this big group of inputs here, and you only have one output. That's your performance in your training and in your race. So when you see that your output, your race performance is unsatisfactory to you, you're not progressing at the rate you want to be, you need to look at your inputs, not just your training, but also this plethora of other things over here, and analyze them. Really question yourself. Say, am I doing this correctly? Am I hitting all these markers right? And then you'll see this input go like this. It'll be exponential. I have a dream one day to completely align my life even more than I have now with my purpose of training. Some of the happiest moments of my life, I think, are literally me training with other people. My team has these camps every summer. We'll go away for a week to kind of this place in the middle of nowhere, lots and lots of nature, and literally just eat, sleep, and train. And that is some of the most fun I've ever had in my life, and that is how I want to live my life. So that's the purpose of this channel. To train like a pro, and by training like a pro and documenting it here, and building this community, to live like a pro. I know I most likely do not have the genetics of an elite athlete, but by teaching you and by building this community, by gathering these extremely disciplined people, together we can build this dream and selfishly my self-actualization and ascend to this higher level of purpose, to be able to completely align myself with this thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. Let's talk about what it would look like for me to align my entire life with training. First of all, quality food. If you're going to live like a monk and truly expect good results, you're going to need good food. All right? This is going to look like balanced food, lots of protein, carbs, and fueling yourself sufficiently to be able to perform your best. I'm not going to go in full detail on nutrition here, because that would take hours and hours to do, and many counter arguments. There are so many different ways that you can diet that it would be illogical for me to try and establish it here. But certainly, the answer is not Fruity Pebbles, 2 donuts, and pizza for your first 2 meals. That's not what you're looking for. A good actionable step for this would be simply to look at your food, say, is this healthy? Is this making me the athlete that I want to be, or is it degrading my performance? And take a harsh look at that and say, is this right for me? Is this what I need? And if not, do not eat it. Another aspect is quality sleep. This is also a very deep dive into a whole realm of science that we will not have time for today. But a simple actionable step for this is to just wake up at the same time every day and go to bed at the same time every day. Make your sleep routine super consistent. Wake up at the same time every day, go to bed at the same time every day, and get those 8 to 10 hours of sleep that you actually need. Now, most people think that however long you're in your bed is going to translate to however long you're sleeping, and that is not true. You need to, especially if you have a Garmin watch here. I have the, if you can see it, the Garmin Forerunner 235. Had it for a while and it serves me well. It was like $125 or something, so go get one. And it will give you a rough estimate of how long you're actually sleeping as opposed to how long you're spending in bed. Now, if this number is greatly different, that is going to tell you that you need to change some things in your life, because obviously it is not working if you're spending an hour awake in your bed at night. Another actionable step for this would be simply don't take your phone to bed. I have people on my team who admit this, that they will go and sit in bed and literally scroll for an hour to 2 hours. Think about that, an hour to 2 hours before going to sleep. Now, do you think that's getting you ready to sleep? All that blue light right in your face, all that stimulation right there? No, that's not getting you ready to do anything. So you have to avoid that. What I like to do is literally read. Is this book, The Confident Mind by Dr. Nate Zinsser? That's what I'm reading right now. Dude, this stuff puts you to sleep. Like, honestly, if you read a good book, literally fantasy books too, you're out. You're literally out so quick. So that's another thing. That's another tip for you to try. Beyond this, there are so many other aspects of life that you need to control. You can't be living like this slobby person. You can't be going out and partying every day. You can't be staying up late like this. You need to have this simple, utter control over your life. You need to be so disciplined that every aspect of your being is completely directed towards this one purpose. Think of it like a pyramid, right? So this up here, the tip of the pyramid, that is your output. That's your performance, right? And then the base of this pyramid here, this is all your inputs. And you see, if they're not pointing in the correct direction, you're not going to have a very strong pyramid, you know? All these need to all be angled directly towards this one point. They all need to be angled towards your output. If they're like this, that's not what you want. That's not a very strong shape. It can bend and shift very easily. You want a triangle, a very, very strong shape that's going to consistently give you this good output. If we look at people in the elite levels of athleticism, let's talk about Kipchoge. Everybody loves to talk about him, whether he's the GOAT or not. If you watch the movie Breaking 2, I mean, it's like an okay movie, but literally just Google the clip, Google Kipchoge homestead training from Breaking 2, and it gives you this great idea of what this monk-like life looks like. If you see Kipchoge, who's already he's a multi-millionaire, we estimate. He literally lives in this compound. He has this one tiny bedroom. We see it in the movie, and lives with all these other guys. Very simple building, very simple house. They just eat, sleep, and train together. He literally has an outhouse. Kipchoge does not. Kipchoge is so directed towards his purpose that he does not even need a flushing toilet to be the best marathoner in the world right now. So why do you think you need donuts? Why do you think you need this sugary cereal every single day, bro? Bro literally poops in an outhouse every day. It shows him in the movie, he literally scrubbing the floor in his outhouse, bro. Why do you need Netflix, bro? Come on. Live like a monk, okay? Trust me, I've tried this and it gives you the best, the most optimal performance that you will ever have. I'm still processing this incredible race that I had recently, which I talked about in my last video on confidence. And not only did my confidence and my visualization contribute to my performance there, but every other aspect of my life, my nutrition, my training, my sleep, and all of these things, they really coincide to make this, they really coincide to make your outcome as optimal as it can be. The sport of running is very forgiving in some ways. When you give everything you have to it, it gives back to you. And it makes you incredibly happy. Trust me, when you get that result that you've been looking for, that you've literally, like, I legitimately have papers on my wall with my goals. My goals for running, my goals for triathlon. And when I was able to tick off that goal of podiuming in my age group at this race, it was some of the happiest I've felt in a long time, man. It is so satisfying to be able to hit boom, 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 this checklist of goals off and take down this paper, say, I'm done with this. I've hit all these goals. To be able to do that, you need to apply everything to your life. You need to live in this monk-like lifestyle that Kipchoge exhibits. And when you do that, while you may have some growing pains as you remove all these things from your life, but it also adds a lot of things. It adds so much happiness and so much joy to your life, so much companionship and brotherhood with these other disciplined men that you're training with, that it is well worth the sacrifice. Discipline is not the removal of bad habits solely for its own sake. Discipline is the removal of bad habits to make room for the goodness of life. Write that down. That was some good stuff right there. Keep this in mind, alright? It's worth it. It's not removal, it's addition. Look forward to the companionship and the accomplishment that you're going to have when you dedicate everything to your sport. It's tough. It gets tiring. But when you finally hit the PR you're looking for, it's well worth it, boys. Thank you for watching. Don't settle. I hope to see you soon. Bye. Ooh, my throat is a wreck, man. Oh my gosh. I got some water.